So when I was young, many decades ago, in the late 90s, early 2000s, the general vibe around the schoolyard was that it was uncool to be online all the time. That was still kind of like the reign of jocks versus nerds. If you were like, I don't know, doing kind of some kind of sport or playing volleyball or something, you're just outside doing stuff and hanging out with people, hanging around the mall, you were considered cool because you had social cred. You actually socialized. But if you were online by yourself, hitting up chat rooms, I don't know, hitting up like alternative interests or something, it was considered uncool. But then that vibe shifted in the late aughts, 2010s, where somebody who was always chronically online back then was not considered like a nerd anymore. It was just considered normal and maybe even cooler than like a jock who peaked in high school. 2010s was kind of the reign of the tech bro, Silicon Valley tech bro. All the new apps, including social media, were on the rise, and it was considered cool to just download all these apps. And if you were more tech savvy than another person, that was more in your favor. But now I feel like the pendulum is swinging back. Now the world has changed. Now social media apps have all successfully enshittified, every single one of them. And it just kind of feels like if you're online all the time, then you're successfully brain rotted, and it's a little uncool again. The pendulum has swung back. Not necessarily jocks versus nerds, but it's swung back to the cool kids that could have the luxury of being offline. Now I feel like if you're chronically online, like if you told somebody, I doom scrolled for 2 hours, if you told me that, I wouldn't be like, wow, what a cool thing to do. I'd be like, what a waste of time. Don't you have any self-control? You see the vibe shift here. The tech inventions, the software, it was once cool because it was new, and now everything is kind of successfully enshittified. Social media has become a cesspool. Bot users, AI slop, algorithmic driven feeds, ads. People are becoming more aware that this is junk and it's bad for you. It's like if you spent your entire weekend on your phone versus somebody who told me that they went to the library and they checked out a book and they read it in a park. They went on a walk. I feel like that person is infinitely more interesting than somebody who's just a bottomless consumer of garbage. So that's the vibe shift and pendulum swing from jocks versus computer nerds to like, you've got to be tech savvy. You got to have all the modern apps. Don't you know everybody's downloading Pokemon Go? And then now, if you're bed rotting and doom scrolling, you're kind of a loser. As we begin to see the enshittification of a lot of social media apps brought upon by like AI slop, brought upon by algorithmic feeds feeding you something you don't even want to see, we're seeing the divergence of two different types of people, like those who kind of suction up all the enshittified junk out there and let it destroy their brain or become brain rotted, virtually become like zombies, and those who make it a mission to unplug. So that's the vibe shift. Being chronically online was considered uncool, and then cool, and then now uncool. And then as the world changes, it could shift back again. But right now, if I'm observing this trend, let's say like you're in the dating pool and somebody says that they spend all their time talking to ChatGPT, that they think ChatGPT is real. They have like ChatGPT psychosis. I would think it's a little off-putting that they can't distinguish reality from delusions. I would think he has a feeble mind, and then he would be undateable. Which brings me to my number one observation of certain behaviors that seem uncool to do online. That shows me that you're like chronically online and maybe have no life. Here's an example. Sometimes on Instagram, the algorithm will recommend you something random, like some influencer trying out like the restaurant in your area. They're just making coffee, or they're just going to the opening of a burrito joint and they're eating some burritos. And if somebody leaves like a nasty comment on somebody eating a burrito, then I would think that the commenter has no life. Or they could be a bot, in which they literally have no life. If you leave like a nasty diatribe, especially when I think like lifestyle or food content, like if somebody's making coffee in an aesthetic lifestyle vlog and somebody leaves an unreasonably nasty comment, that means that you don't respect your own time. It probably took them like 5 minutes to write that nasty comment when they could have just scrolled on and go outside or like do something else, make their own coffee. I have talked about the controversy controversy of the girl who read 120 books, people left very disgusting comments, and they were complaining about, like, if I had the time, I could read 120 books too. Well, you do have the time because you spent 5-10 minutes of it writing in giant paragraph where you could have spent that time reading a book. Like, how can you respect somebody that doesn't respect their own time? I especially noticed this in like Reddit threads. Some people will write like an entire book, an entire essay. Like, if you're commenting on a Reddit thread to find community, then that's a different story. But it's like, if you're going there to argue with somebody, like what is the point? Your comment, like your Reddit thread, is not monetized, I don't think. Like, what's the point of getting into a Facebook political argument with somebody? You're not going to change your aunt's mind. She's not going to change your mind. You're just going to end up getting angry at each other. She's sending you horrible boomer memes. You're sending her links to articles that it's probably paywalled and she probably can't read. Who wins out of all this? Nobody. You both wasted your time. The only entity that wins here is Meta. It's not even the person posting it. They're probably not getting any money. It's just Meta winning from your angry comment. So that's one case of being chronically online uncool. So in the 2010s or 5-6 years ago, if you knew all the trends that began online and you participated in all of them, or you're more tech savvy, it's considered more of a status. It's more of a boast. You were up to date, you were with it. But nowadays, if you were to list off all the random TikTok trends, I don't think it would carry the status as it once had. Nowadays, I see more people boasting about not being online, like not being aware of the trends. Like, if you're aware of the trends, it kind of signals that you're online too much and you're officially brain rotted. So it's like, being too aware of it is not cool anymore. What is cool is not being online and living your life. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Being offline is the new luxury. Being offline is the new status symbol. Being offline carries a certain sense of a snobbery, and the two types of classes that is emerging: those who overuse technology versus those who can use technology but have the luxury to not use technology. We'll get into that. So my name is Teresa, and this is the luxury of being unplugged. Do you have the privilege of being offline? So does one need to have a certain degree of financial privilege to now be offline versus online all the time? So I sat down and I thought about it. I kind of looked at the world around me. I do think that one does need to have like a certain level of privilege for you to have any kind of balance between being offline and online. Just think about it this way. Like, if you're working in a company, for instance, just like an imaginary company, some bosses email you or text you all the time. You're not in a position to leave these emails unanswered. You're not in a position to ignore your boss, right? Like, these emails or these questions need to be answered right away. And then when you answer them, and if you ask them a question, they take their sweet time answering you. So it's like, it's kind of a power play, like, if you're the boss, if you're high up, you don't answer things right away. There are questions, it may not even be an important question, needs to be answered right away, or you're not a team player. You look bad in their eyes if you don't answer right away. Even if you're off the clock, even if you're on vacation, even if it's the middle of the night, even if it's like first thing in the morning, why aren't you answering your text? Basically, they don't respect your time, but you have to respect their time. So that's one isolated scenario of like, do you need to be connected, or can you afford to be unplugged? If you're rich, for instance, and you don't want to deal with your email, then you can definitely hire a virtual assistant, an assistant of some kind, that you never really have to look at your emails again. You could even have somebody text for you. Like, you could hire help to not be on your phone, so that you can have the privilege of enjoying life, enjoying nature, going to like a 4-star hotel where you could just lock your phone away. Versus a lot of average life requires technology to function. A lot of apartment complexes nowadays, if you're not lucky enough to have in-unit laundry, then there's like a laundry room. And that laundry room requires you to have a laundry app in order to activate the machine. You can't just tap your credit card on it. There's no credit card tap. You definitely can't put quarters into it. You have to have a smartphone. And what if you don't? Public transportation, buses, I guess you could still pay cash, but I see it going mostly cashless. In New York, I heard that they're getting rid of the Metro card and it's all on your phone now. From my experience in Europe and Asia, I was in Japan 2 years ago. It is difficult to get around public transportation without without a phone. It's doable, but you just have to go through many more steps. If you ever notice, QR code menus are only for restaurants or places that are kind of like mid-tier, $2 sign, $3 sign restaurants. It's okay to do it at a brunch place, or it's okay to do it at like a new urban eatery. But if you go to a more high-end restaurant, like maybe a steakhouse, prime rib place, one of those fine dining prefix menu things that you see at chef's table, they hardly ever have QR code menus. They would obviously give you a printed menu on very nice cream paper, or they give you like a vellum book menu. Can you imagine them saying scan the QR code menu? I mean, it's just like, it's gauche. So again, for this tier of dining, you don't need to be online. You don't need to whip out your phone. Sometimes nowadays, if you go into a restaurant and you don't have your phone, sometimes you need to order on your phone. You know what I'm saying? Do you see the gap here between affluence and not expecting you to be on your phone, and not as affluent, like just middle class, just normal, regular people? They're expected to be on their phone. They're expected to have their phone with them. If you want to take public transportation, it's better that you have your phone with you. If you hail an Uber, if you hail a Lyft, obviously you need your phone. But if you're more privileged, why are you waiting at the bus stop? Why do you need to go to a laundry facility? Or you live in a pretty nice house with a washer dryer unit. I can't even believe we're even talking about, like, it's a privilege to have a washer and dryer in your house or in your unit, versus the rest of us have to go to the communal laundry and you can't pay you can't get rid of your quarters. Another thing is, you know how like they've done away with the penny? And I've been going into grocery stores. Obviously, I don't pay by cash anymore, but if you wanted to pay by cash, and because there's no pennies to give you exact change, now you have to round up. So you're paying more if you're paying by cash. When you say, don't be on your phone so much, get out there and touch grass, I have to tell you, if you're living in poverty, like let's say you're living in a hoarder's house, if your physical environment is unpleasant, then you would escape through, you would put your mind away. Back in the day, if I had something unpleasant going on in my physical environment, I would escape into a book. I would escape into a movie. I would escape into music. Train yourself to adapt by putting your mind away, by seeking out beauty and art and turning inward. I turn inward toward books and movies because I lived at a time in an economic situation in which I didn't have the internet and like the iPhone hadn't been invented. Let's say I was living in an unpleasant environment now and I couldn't get away and I had a phone, I would be more susceptible to being on my phone. In some sense, people who are driven to be addicted to their phone or social media or whatever, sometimes you're driven to it by your outside environment. If your environment's more beautiful, you have less of an incentive to try to escape into your phone. And in another sense, doing a full digital detox, Spotify has got like a lot of AI artists now. Streaming is a fractured dumpster fire. So one can start collecting physical media, Blu-rays and 4Ks and DVDs and vinyl and cassettes again, or CDs or whatever. Collecting physical media, I mean, that's not an inexpensive hobby. If you don't care about the quality, you could buy used DVDs. But if you do care about the quality, if you get into like the Criterion collection, I mean, it's not cheap. Ask me how I know. So several months ago, I think a viewer recommended that I read Careless People by Sarah Wynne Williams. She used to work at Facebook. She's the famous Facebook whistleblower. I recommend that you all read that book because it's pretty juicy. While there was many things that stood out that I'm not going to get into here, I'm just going to read it to you. The quote that stood out to me the most, that is relevant to this video about the privilege of being offline. Silicon Valley is awash in wooden Montessori toys and shrouded in total screen bans. Parents at work talk about how they don't allow their teens to have mobile phones, which only underscores how well these executives understand the real damage their product inflicts on young minds, all the while making sure that their algorithm is as addictive as possible. Your kids can be addicted to the phone, but their kids are weaned away from the phone. So I feel like it's kind of creating this underclass of people who are addicted to their phones. Their minds are brain rotted and enfeebled, so it's easier for those who are not addicted to their phones to control them. You know, it's like kind of like the new wellness trend. Screen addiction, the screen is like a big bucket of neon orange cheese balls. What are you going to do about it? You keep on eating it or you step away? But more importantly, are you able and financially well off enough to step away. So if you made it this far, please drop this laptop emoji in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed this video, then give it a like. And obviously, if you didn't enjoy it, give it a dislike. And subscribe to my channel. Got an itch on my knee. If you don't enjoy me, then also consider subscribing to my channel, because I know I have like a handful of hate watchers. I know it. It's like my like to dislike ratio is actually pretty good in terms of likes, but the dislike is always like the same number. I always have like 8 dislikes. Just every video, just 8 dislikes. Who are these people? If you're a hate watcher, if you happen to be subscribed because you kind of actually hate me, but you just what the hell is she gonna say now? You don't have to like write why you hate me. It's like, why do you stack 2 pencil boxes and a vase? I don't like your face, Teresa. Well, I don't like your face. But just drop this drop this emoji right here. I'm trying to figure out what the analytics don't tell me, so I'm just gonna ask you.